Greetings. It is February 1st, 2017. One of the half a dozen or so letters I received from Elie Wiesel over the years. One in particular I've been hoping to find surfaced recently. And while I can't show the original drawing that it pertains to, I have a photograph here. The original drawing is framed, but it's also packed, so in a carton with other work, so not readily accessible until the next exhibit. So I had read portions of his, the first volume of his autobiography, All Rivers Run to the Sea, which I had checked out of the public library. And that would have been in, I guess, 1996. I remember I had a hard time with it because he had such a hard time dealing with his relationship with his own father, and my father had died, passed on February 2nd, 95. And it was just a hard read, so I didn't get the whole thing done. And the drawing was done like in 3 stages. The first, I drew the head from a photograph that was that's reproduced in the book, All Rivers Run to the Sea. And actually I had met someone at the synagogue I go to, Yosef August, who I had chatted with after a Saturday service, and he came down to my studio, which was in Pioneer Square then, before the quake of 2001. And the drawing didn't have the wings on it then. And I had it on the wall, much larger than this. It's I don't know, about probably, including the drawing paper, it's probably 22 by 30 inches high. The wings weren't drawn yet, and he looked at it and he said something like, "Oh, it's everyone's Zadie," which ended up becoming the title. Zadie is Yiddish for like grandfather, granddad, grandpa. And subsequently to that, and at least 2, maybe more, trips to the ornithology lab at the Burke Museum at the University of Washington. I drew, I think I drew the wing on viewer's left, which is on the right side of the portrait of W. Fike's head there, and then I drew the wing on the right side, on the viewer's right. And actually the wing wasn't that long, but I kind of elongated it in the drawing. Kind of stage by stage. And I forget which wing, I think it was this one, was from a bee-eater from Kazakhstan. I had asked if they had any wings from birds like indigenous to Hungary or Romania, where the Wiesel family hailed from, and they didn't. Then I said, well, what about like Israel, Palestine, in that area, Jordan? And the bee-eater migrates, I guess, seasonally, pre-winter to Africa. So that's what I did there. So after I did the drawing, it was completed, and I had 8 by 10 black and white photos made. I mailed a black and white photo of the drawing to Elie Wiesel. He was already familiar with the series from previous correspondence, and I asked his permission to use the work in the series, and he gave approval. I don't know if I wrote subsequently, if it was in the same letter I wrote and told him that that while many viewers, because in a city like Seattle you have a lot of like New Age type folks and so on, and in the renewal movement you'll have a lot of people who believe in angels and that sort of thing. And while I told him that I myself don't believe in angels, I said a lot of viewers who had seen the works in exhibits. The first exhibit was at the Hillel Center at the University of Washington in Seattle in 1992. A lot of viewers believed they were angels, but I emphatically stated that I don't believe the victims are angels, and that or that they're winged, other than in my kind of metaphoric pictorial drawings in the series. And Wiesel, from my estimation, sent a very illuminating reply. March 24th, 1997. Dear Akiva Segan, thank you for your mailing. I am touched by your commitment to Jewish themes. As for my grandfather, I also don't think of him with wings. With best wishes, Elie Wiesel. From his stationery from Boston University. Andrew W. Mellon, professor in humanities and university professor in Boston. So I was actually quite pleased to know that Wiesel, who was raised observant and religiously, and who retained a faith, unlike a number of other Holocaust survivors, and he retained faith and continued being observant in his adult life in France and in America. I assume in France, but I know for sure in America, that he did not think of his beloved maternal grandfather, Dudya Feig, as having wings of an angel, of an angelic sort. So there you have it. Maybe I will do a reading, if it's not already up on YouTube, of an unpublished op-ed length article I wrote back around, might have been 1992 or 93, called Why Jewish Angels? Even though I don't believe in angels myself, it was an article offering kind of justification and rationale for my having depicted all these Jewish victims of the Nazis and fascists with wings. And later on the series expanded to include non-Jewish victims of the Nazis, a Catholic Italian victim of fascism in Italy, and so on. Anyway, there you have it. Thank you. A little postscript here. I was very saddened last year on learning of Wiesel's passing, and I can only wonder speculatively in my thinking that he would be profoundly upset at the tone of the Islamophobic, anti-Mexican, anti-Latino, anti-disabled, or mocking the disabled, the whole tone of the campaign as led by now President Trump and embraced by the entire Republican establishment. And certainly what's happened just in the last week alone with banning people based on faith, all the while the White House denies that, but it's obvious that that is entirely the case. And all the while they legislatively endorse and enable the American genocide of 34,000 people shot dead every year in an endless litany of mass shootings that are terror attack in every aspect, except for how the police, mayors, governors, and the FBI classify them. I find it dismaying. Yet we continue on and we campaign for social justice and for democracy. And I have retained great respect for Professor Wiesel's years of writing and teaching and guest speaking.